Welcome to the show, everybody. Joseph Robert, the fantasy football counselor. Got a special episode today. We're talking about NFL Power Rankings Week 4. Got a special guest, Malena Brown. What's going on?
Guys. Hi, how are you? Hi to your whole community. Thanks for having me on.
It's great having you on, and it's kind of weird how I kind of discovered you and figured out that you're a real big football fan. I came across your account in the oddest way. It's so weird because as you know, I got a lot of haters. So somebody reposted a video of me thinking I was like, promoting or happy about Christian McCaffrey's injury. It's not that I was happy. I was more just like, I knew a decline was going to happen with Christian McCaffrey because you have such a pinnacle, perfect Cinderella season.
Right.
Something's bound to happen. So some guy reposted that video. On that same hater's page, there was your post, and I guess you had done something that this hater didn't approve of. And I'm like, who is this girl, right? And I'm like, okay, she's pretty knowledgeable football. I checked out your YouTube, watched a few videos. I'm like, this girl knows football. So I'm like, I had to get you on, and maybe we'll get you on maybe as a recurring guest if this goes well. But I really want to talk power rankings with you. But before we do, I just kind of want to learn your story. What are you about? How do people find you? I'm going to link her Insta below, but just kind of tell me about yourself, really.
I am a huge football fan. I worked in college football, so I think that's where I really started to fall in love with the game. I worked actually as a student athletic trainer to start, so I thought I was going to medical school, that whole thing, and ended up changing paths. But I think that's where I learned the most. So we're pretty much the water people that you see on the games. But you're so close to the game every day. You're there for every 3-hour practice. And so you get to learn so much. I switched from there to recruiting. That was more of the personable side. And I think that really pulled at what I loved to do and some of my strengths. And from there, I decided to start a TikTok, start a YouTube channel. I had no idea what I was doing, but I knew football, and started to build an audience from there.
So when did you start building the brand exactly? How many months, years have you been at this?
Only in January. So I started in January. I was actually down at the Senior Bowl. I met Gary Vee. So he's a big businessman, right. And he said, you have to get on TikTok. That's definitely where you should start. And it made it easier for me, just like those 1-minute bits. And I'm such a long form talker that I knew I'd have to make the switch to YouTube eventually. And I did just that.
Yeah, YouTube.
So now I'm on both platforms.
So Malena Brown on Insta, if you guys listening in the car, that's Malena Brown. And there's an extra N at the end, Brown N, right? With an extra Brown.
Yep.
Right?
Exactly. A little emphasis.
Is it because the Malena Brown was probably taken, so you had to add an extra letter to it?
It is actually funny enough. My name is exactly spelled like the girl who has that account, the former Dallas Cowboys running backs coach. He went to Penn State, and his daughter's name is Malena Brown. Ironically enough,
Brown, Antonio Brown, Malcolm Brown.
And there we go. Exactly. I think they're probably my cousins somewhere.
Any relation to Antonio at all?
None. I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean that. The talent level is still there, but we have
So is the trouble level with Antonio?
Yeah, there's a couple off the field things.
He's cooled down a little bit now. Hopefully he gets back in there. The talent is unreal. So I just want to see. And what was it that the hater? What particular video did the hater pick out? The one that I saw there. What were you talking? I didn't even actually watch the video. I saw you watch like 2 seconds of it. Went to your profile. And then went to your YouTube channel, and then I saw that you had some really good knowledge about football. That's what I was focused on. And again, so what was it really like? What was the hate all about?
So funny enough, you said your video was about Christian McCaffrey. I don't know if this guy is like his, secret fan, but mine was, I did my top 5 running backs on TikTok a little while back. I did running backs, tight ends, and like receivers that day. And I was posting that video, and I had a gut feeling like, I feel like I rushed through this and something is off. And of course, my number 1 running back was Derrick Henry. I think at number 2, I had Zeke or Saquon. Yeah, number 3 was Zeke or Saquon. Like they were 2 or 3. 4, I had Alvin Kamara because I love him. And 5, I actually had Aaron Jones because he's just my wild card. I like him. And in terms of the guys that I like in the league, I went into details about why I like their skill sets and things like that. And everybody, after I posted that video, was like, Christian McCaffrey. And I was like, guys, I completely it was like one of those honest mistakes, completely overlooked it. And I knew as I was pushing upload, I was like, something feels off. I woke up to like these crazy, like my mentions were going crazy, and I had to make an updated video. But the hater found the original video, and yeah, I guess he's a little disappointed.
You must have been listening to my content because I'm not. I was more of a Saquon guy. Both of them got hurt. Saquon for the entire season.
I know.
Christian McCaffrey probably for another couple weeks here. But anyway, it's been a crazy season. Injuries playing a big factor. But anyway, I want to learn a bit about you anyway and just kind of tell everybody a bit on what's going on. Make sure you guys follow her link below. But again, we want to talk today about power rankings. That's very important right now. And it seems like you're very knowledgeable about the reality aspect of football. I get this guy, Tom Santinello, who used to be, is kind of still an NFL agent. He used to represent guys like Martavis Bryant. I met him through Martavis when Martavis was repping my brand years ago when I first started out with my brand. So Tom Santinello comes on Wednesday. We do a Fire and Ice show. So he's really good. Maybe I should get you guys on for a show, Talk Real Football. But we want to talk about power rankings. So who is the best team in the NFL right now? I know tonight is Monday. We recorded this Monday morning, so we got the Monday Night Football game. So we're going to get some
matchup.
Matchup. Yeah. So we got some questions answered with the Ravens and the Chiefs tonight. And then we got Seattle, who's red hot with Russell Wilson, MVP candidate already in the conversation. So we're going to go from who kind of is the best team, who's the worst. We're just going to kind of just openly talk about your thoughts on what you're thinking. So I'm just going to ask you a first question, and we can just let it roll. Assuming, let's say, Baltimore or KC wins, let's say KC wins, for example, hypothetically, who is the best team in the NFL right now after 3 weeks going into week 4? Is it the Seahawks? Is it the Chiefs? Is it the Ravens? Who do you have as the best team right now?
I feel like I'm most scared of this Seahawks team because I think the number one thing that was missing in past seasons was Brian Schottenheimer and the play calling and letting Russ cook, right? That's what we're all talking about. And I think they finally have made those adjustments rather than them being fourth quarter adjustments. They're making them through the first 3 quarters now. So he is able to just get out there, get the ball to playmakers like DK Metcalf, who played his heart out against the best, in my opinion, best corner in the league, and Stephon Gilmore last week.
Can I pause you for a second? I want to interrupt you. You're doing really well here. That play where Metcalf let up, that's kind of my analogy for life, right? You think you got this rhythm going, you never let up, and then Diggs just hit it from underneath. Man, that play was crazy. What do you think about that? Do you think that was an honest mistake? Do you think he was in the end zone, or do you think he was just being a little bit arrogant, like, I got this, we're there? Not even arrogant, but like, we've got this. He thought he was in, right? I would think.
Right. I would assume that he thought he was in, and like that kind of last second, which is why I think they always used to teach in like football programs and cultures. They teach a lot like +2, that +2 mentality. So you take it the extra 2 yards when you're doing any drills because you think you're there, and you still got a little bit longer to go. So finish and follow through. But honest mistake. They won the game, so I'm going to kind of let him off of that one. But it's a learning lesson for him for sure. I think
he got a touchdown near the end of the game as well, completely made up.
Right.
He redeemed himself, as they say.
There we go. But you mentioned Trayvon Diggs, and he is so promising. Obviously, I'm a Cowboys fan, so I love having him on this team. Was a big fan of his at Alabama. I'm a huge fan of his brother as well. I would like to see that matchup of those two in the NFL one day if we get so lucky.
Yeah, so going back to that, who did you say? So Seahawks is kind of your team. You think they're the most powerful team, even if the Chiefs win. They are scary. I mean, Russell Wilson, I think that's what it comes down to when you're looking at the final polished product, is you got an experienced quarterback. And I know Mahomes is great, Super Bowl winner. The experience is there. Lamar is great. But Russell does have that experience. It's going to come down to experience at the end of the day. Defensively, who's got the best defense here? You can make an argument with Baltimore, right? Or do you think Seahawks?
I'd go in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Easy. Like I can't argue that until, we'll get to see them tonight against a obviously really powerful, high flying offense, but I'm taking Baltimore.
Baltimore's D. All right. So let's talk about some other teams that have let's talk about, how about an offense that surprised you a little bit? I think a little bit of a surprise here. I knew the offense was good, and I know you liked them. We talked a little bit off air here. Is the Buffalo Bills. Are they kind of the biggest surprise here? I kind of have them ranked like 5 right now.
They're actually not a surprise for me because another video I got some hate on, my top 5 receivers. I put Stephon Diggs as my 5th guy. It was a tough choice for me because I think on any given day, on any given week, any given year, you could put a different guy, in these orders and things like that. But I put Diggs over Devontae Adams, which I know it's crazy. Yeah. I get that. but I was excited for him and his potential outside of that Vikings team. He seemed pretty unhappy in Minnesota, I'm not going to lie. And so I figured this guy must know that he's got something to show everybody. And when he gets to Buffalo, he's going to show us that. And so far, it's been a perfect marriage between him and Josh Allen. I've been a fan of Josh Allen when I saw him Thanksgiving versus the Cowboys in 2019. He had an it factor. He was not scared of the big moment. And again, even in the playoffs versus Houston, obviously it was a loss, but I think we learned so much from that. And I think I would rather have a quarterback that I have to reel in than somebody where you're like, you got to get the ball out, like take the chance. And he was one of those guys where some of the throws I was a little concerned with, but it's okay. You're young. You learn from that. And clearly he's putting on the show this year.
Yeah, Josh Allen is a huge fantasy quarterback, a guy that I was high on, got him 6th round ADP in fantasy drafts. And Josh Allen is a guy that's now starting to make a transition, and he's evolving from a running quarterback, and he's staying in the pocket more, throwing, but he's actually got some really good targets this year to throw to. So Buffalo, I mean, a surprise. But when you're looking at these top 3 teams, okay, there's always a team that comes out and emerges and could actually beat these teams and actually win the Super Bowl. All right, so I got another question here for you. I'm really curious your thoughts on this. So who's kind of like the dark horse team that's going to come in and maybe surpass the Seahawks, the Ravens, the Chiefs? Could it be the Steelers? Could it be the Titans? I don't know if Ryan Tannehill's got enough there, but the Buccaneers, or how about Newton and those New England Patriots? Who is that team in your opinion? You study football and you know it probably better than a lot of people. Who do you think is going to come in and maybe just snipe that first spot there for the power rankings?
I don't even know that they're a dark horse, but I am terrified of Aaron Rodgers that with a chip on his shoulder. I'm giving it to this Packers team. I think they looked really good last night against a strong team in the Saints. Obviously, we have some questions right now with Drew Brees and his arm strength, but hopefully when they get Michael Thomas back, they can get back on track. But I'm giving it to the Green Bay Packers easily. They're stacked on offense, they're stacked on defense. And again, I think Aaron Rodgers is the original Mahomes in my mind, where he can get out there and do crazy things, highlight worthy plays again and again. I give it to Green Bay.
I agree. You know, prior to this season, a lot of people were saying the Packers, he's washed up. Like, no, man, he's got a chip on his shoulder. You can't forget Aaron Rodgers. He's one of the greatest of all time. He's coming with a chip on his shoulder. And what he did last night's game without Devontae Adams, Lazard was one of my sleepers as well. Lazard just tore it up. I mean, what he did without Devontae Adams there, I mean, that's the thing with Rodgers, though. Sometimes I found, because I've bet on a lot of games where I had Green Bay to win, and then he just craps the bed. He just I don't know what he does. Sometimes it's physiology's down. He's not trying, but I don't know if he's in his groove. It's very hard to beat a motivated chip on his shoulder Rodgers. So I definitely see that right now. I got them right now, kind of 4th right now. My power rankings are right in behind everybody else. But again, Big Ben also, if he gets going and that offense gets going, they're going to be trouble too. But it seems like he's kind of getting some slow starts. What do you think that is with Big Ben? Is it just that his conditioning needs to be up to speed? Because he's coming off shaky in the first quarter of these games.
I agree. And I think it's weird because he has so many weapons around him. So I think that he doesn't really have the excuses. I wasn't the biggest Big Ben believer, in terms of his return. Obviously, I know he's a legend, but in terms of him coming back this season, I wasn't that high on it. And it was challenging for me not to be, because his coach and Mike Tomlin always gets the job done. I just think maybe he needs to find his groove, and it's a different fit. Maybe if there's, I don't want to say he has more weapons, because the Steelers notoriously have great receivers, but I can't quite put my finger on yet what's happening there. I love their defense. I love all the pieces around Big Ben, and I think that obviously he's going to be able to complete and get the job done. I just don't see them as a Super Bowl team. I'm not sure what it is. There's something about them that I'm not super high on. But I think they'll be strong and competitive in the AFC, but it's a strong AFC. I'm never counting out Bill Belichick, and obviously Cam Newton looks great under him, and the Chiefs and the Ravens.
I got a good question. I want to answer this to myself as well. Let's talk about the fakers. There's some teams that came out a little bit hot early on. Arizona Cardinals, Chicago Bears, who are 3-0, Vegas Raiders 2-1. Cardinals lost yesterday, so they're 2-1 as well. So out of those teams, maybe even the Colts who are 2-1, Rams who are 2-1, these guys showed some promise. Again, the Bears are, I think they could be the fakers here. Which team do you think is kind of like, they had a good start, but I'm not sold on them? I'm going to go with the Bears here at the 3-0. I think, and again, I'm wearing a Bears hat because I'm a David Montgomery fan. I'm waiting for that breakout game. I in no way am a Bears fan. I'm more of a Colts fan. And I just wear hats because it's fantasy relevant, just so you learn to know me. I care more about my fantasy players than I do about the team. But I think the Bears are probably the fakers out of this group. Who do you think is kind of that, I'm not really sold on you?
The Colts.
Really?
I know you just said you're a Colts fan.
Come on.
I am not a Phillip Rivers girl. I'm not. And
I don't blame you.
Yeah, it's definitely, I can't see them. I mean, I think they take the AFC South because, mainly because the Texans and Bill O'Brien trading away the best receiver in the league. I can't expect you guys to win that many games. I love Deshaun Watson though, so I hope things get better around him. But I'm giving this to Colts.
If you've been following my channel, you haven't been following, we just met, but if you've been following my channel years ago, I was a big Andrew Luck lover, a big fan. Big fan, and my heart broke. And there was a big emotional Instagram post on this where it was like dramatic, and it took me. I'm still getting over this.
Yeah. Every Colts fan I know is still getting over it too. They're all like, 1 year ago today, Andrew Luck mysteriously retired. Like it came out of nowhere. Like I'm like scrolling through Twitter, and I was like, oh, whoa, like that was completely out of left field. I think maybe you'll get some Jacoby Brissett this season. I don't know if that's a good thing, but
no, he's not a guy to get it done. He's like a Tyrod Taylor, Darnold guy, Carson. These guys are just like, some of them are overblown. They're just not guys that'll get it done. I'm not really sold on them being elite quarterbacks. Carson
Wentz, I was sold on being an elite quarterback, even as a Cowboys fan. Like I think not anymore. Up until last season, though, he had proven himself at least more than Dak. I think Dak is the better quarterback. Absolutely. I thought he had the higher ceiling, but you look at the end of 2019, you pull the accolades and the important things, right? Like I think there's a coach that says the most important statistic is the number of wins versus number of losses. And I think Wentz had that, but I have this crazy drop off this year is not what I expected, because I definitely would have put him in that great category. I don't know, elite's kind of pushing it, but a category of one of the best, up there in the on the other side of average, on the positive side of average.
Well, I don't know. I got a lot of hate. I did a post when he got that $128 million deal. I did this post and I tagged, obviously, hashtag Philly Eagles. That thing got, I don't know, 50,000 views, something crazy like that, organically on Instagram. It was crazy.
Right.
The amount of hate, there was thousands of I can't even remember the amount of hate from Eagles fans when I said that was the biggest waste of money I've ever seen in football history. I wasn't sold because he hadn't finished a season, always getting banged up, and now it's lack of performance. I don't know whether it's his receiving core isn't good enough or whatever it may be. Excuses aside, I just thought that was a huge waste of money on a guy that really wasn't proven in the NFL. The upside, like you said, but I wasn't really sold. The amount of hate I got from Eagles fans, and now just silence, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So it's like a lot of my predictions do come true. I'm not right on everything. I don't expect to be right on everything, but a lot of my stuff comes true. That like for example, I think it was last year, not just going into the 2019 season, I said Allen was better than Mayfield. The amount of hate, because everybody had Baker Mayfield hype that season, the amount of hate I got for that, because I was looking at the 2018 season, the end of that, and I was looking at the numbers. I'm like, Allen is outperforming Mayfield. I'm not sold. And that's what I deal with, going back to the hate, but I'm okay with it. I've got a thick skin. Imagine if I sat there for every hate comment and thought about it, I wouldn't sleep, right?
Right. Yeah.
you're probably
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And I think there's just automatically the assumption that I'm a girl, so I don't know what I'm talking about. So I think people, as soon as you click the video, you're expecting me to say something wrong. And you also have to remember, some of this is pure opinion. Like some weeks in football, it's luck. It's the luck of the draw a little bit when you have two opponents like the Chiefs versus the Ravens. They're both completely talented teams. Like 1 year Lamar is going to win a Super Bowl, 1 year Mahomes is going to win the Super Bowl. Like there's a little bit of that to it too. But I don't know that I expected this much hate from it, because I think most of my opinions are right. But it comes with the game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's why I don't tell people my age, right? I'm obviously in my 30s, but I'm not going to say I'm 31 or I'm 39 because I don't know what it is. It's just one thing you just kind of avoid the topic because someone who's 42 is going to say, "Well, I used to watch the Bears when I was in the in the 70s.
Right.
I grew up in my." It's like it's just the stereotypes around it. So I just
Right.
kind of avoid it all. I don't talk about my age or anything like that. I just keep it like that. And then again, they'll be like, "What is this? This girl doesn't know about me. I know more." It's like that stereotype. It's terrible. It's terrible.
Exactly. And it's like, okay, well, you stopped playing, football after Pop Warner, so we're kind of the same there, bud. I've never played football, I will say that, but
because you're young too, right? They're young. Oh, I know more than that. And then when you open your mouth, it's like, okay, whoa, she knows her stuff. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and when I don't know something though, I absolutely say that. Like this Raiders team, I'm still figuring them out. So, and then again, like I said with the Steelers, I'm not sure what it is about them in the first quarter. I think we're going to start to be able to string together more film and be able to get a better idea of that. But if I don't know, I also say that. I'm never shy to say that. So when I'm saying something, it's because it's well thought out. I've prepared that.
For sure. I got two teams I really want to talk about, and I want to get your opinion because I'm just like shaking my head and be like, what the hell happened to these teams? Because the talent is definitely there. Now, you can make an argument. Two teams, I'm going to tell you who they are. Texans 0-3 and Falcons 0-3. Now, obviously, the Falcons crap the bed with those leads, and I don't know whether it's defense or whatever, but let's start off with the Falcons maybe. One thing I'm pissed off. I need to vent. I need to let this out.
I feel you.
Todd Gurley, like is it the arthritis? Like I can't figure it out because I was watching plays where Brian Hill's dropping the ball. I know he had the one run for a touchdown. It looked okay. Mm-hmm. And Ito Smith, it's like Gurley's out there. I don't know what he's doing by the sidelines. Get him on the field. Play your best players. Why is Ito Smith has no business being on the field when an elite talent player like Gurley's on the bench? So what is going on with the Falcons and the Texans? Do they really deserve to be 0-3? Because I don't think so.
I think that the Falcons do deserve to be 0-3. I'm a Dan Quinn fan, but it just sounds like that's not the right fit down there. I did think that they would get back on track on the defensive side of the ball. I know that he turned over the play calling in the latter half of last season to Raheem Morris now. So I thought that they would continue that upswing, and it seems like they haven't. I genuinely think they just kind of need to sweep the culture. And sometimes when you sweep the culture, I don't think it's because the coach is bad. I think sometimes it's just we need a change, right? We need something's not working here. There's some odd fit. I think Matt Ryan's a great quarterback. I love Calvin Ridley. Julio Jones is Julio Jones, so you've got to respect him. They have a lot of great pieces. In terms of the running back position, I had questions about Todd Gurley being able to come back. I hoped that it would work out, but I definitely had questions about him being able to come back and be back to that old form. And I think we're seeing why a lot of people were concerned there. With the Texans, I'm not a fan of Bill O'Brien. I don't think that he's building the culture right there at all. Like I'm just not a fan. And DeAndre Hopkins is my favorite athlete maybe in the league. Definitely my favorite receiver. So you don't trade away a future Hall of Famer. You just don't. Like golden rule. I don't care if you guys don't get along. Figure it out. That is crazy to me. And I'm a huge Deshaun Watson fan too. So it's disappointing to see him not have the weapons around him that he needs. I do think though that the Texans 0-3 is faker than the Falcons 0-3 because the Texans started off against the best teams in the league. So you do have to kind of like it was straight Kansas City, Baltimore, Pittsburgh.
I know. Right. That's great.
Like they were like trying to breathe and they're like, oh, again. All right. I know.
It's funny because I'm a David Johnson loving fan. Like
okay.
For people that don't know the story, when I started with my brand, I started with a fantasy frame, which is like a league prize where you basically, it's replacing a trophy. So I had David Johnson endorse my brand. So I went to David Johnson's house in Arizona when he was living in Arizona. Super nice guy. He was like, yeah, get yourself a fantasy frame. By the way, I shot that idea down. I don't do fantasy frames. I went with the podcast. This was like 2016. So what happened was last year, Kingsbury, I think in my opinion, kind of screwed him. That's another beside the fact. David Johnson, one game came out and said, I'm going to come out and I'm going to play. He was supposed to come out and play for like the whole game. He came out for one snap, put out 1 fantasy points. So I lost it. I had a David Johnson rookie card. It was more for clicks and stuff. It's just my personality. I'm crazy. I went out and I smashed the rookie card with a hammer, tagged David Johnson. David Johnson blocks me. Okay. So So David Johnson now blocks you, but I'm still one of his main only fans in fantasy because I still believe in him. Now, he came out pretty strong considering the matchups. He put up like 12 points, got a touchdown against one of the toughest rush defense in the game. So I don't think it was, I think he's a top 5 running back. I know I'm crazy. I still believe in him, but yeah, I mean, Hopkins or him, it's still a bit towards the Hopkins side, but I hope and I pray for David Johnson because I still like him, even though he blocked me on Instagram. I'm still following him on Twitter, by the way. Maybe one day he'll unblock me. By the way, a lot of people block me. Kyler Murray blocked me, Odell, because I say they suck in certain games. It is what it is. But a lot of guys have taken it. You know, Leonard Fournette DM'd me once. He's like, Joe, I need you to stop talking about me. So a lot of guys are cool with it. Austin Eckler dove into a comment. He was cool with it. He's like, Joe, explain to me why I'm not that good. I'm like, well, you're not a pure runner, blah, blah. Anyway, David Johnson still a little bit heartbroken with this, but I'm rooting for him. And I think the Texans bounce back in a must-win week 4. So I agree with you.
I was surprised at his showing week 1 versus the Chiefs. Like I wasn't, so I hadn't seen a lot of David Johnson previously. Like I was not a huge Cardinals. I'm not going to say not a fan. I'm honestly a fan of all 32 teams, but I hadn't watched them so much. So I didn't know what to expect from this guy. And I was very, very impressed. So I get why you're high on him, but I mean, it's DeAndre Hopkins. Like, I love Nuke. I just think he is unreal. Him and Alvin Kamara, I go back and forth with those guys.
Well, the pressure on Watson, man. I mean, the guy's running backwards more than he's running forwards.
I know. I am so ready to see him in a better situation. He deserves a better situation, so we can actually, honestly compare. Put him in the conversation with Mahomes and with Lamar Jackson. I want to be able to see them all succeeding and thriving. Right? That would be my dream. Everybody's on a perfect team, and we can compare them perfectly. But yeah.
We've had a lot of fun here. So let's end this off with this. The worst, this is a tough one. The Jets, the Giants. Who is the worst team in the NFL? The Bengals, they got Burrow. He's okay. I guess it's got to be between, because, the Vikings are 0-3, but that's another phony thing. I think they're better than advertised. That's a shock, right? Who is the worst team in the NFL, and do they deserve to be there? Is it the Jets? Is it the Giants? Who is terrible right now, in your opinion?
The Jets. It's absolutely the Jets. Clearly, and I think you guys have heard now enough. I'm a culture first person, so I don't think that Adam Gase is the guy there. Nobody thought he was from the beginning, pretty much. At least the Giants, they're just down their best player in Saquon Barkley. Daniel Jones is only in year 2, so you're hoping that he can just start to really acclimate, but he's on uneven ground. And they have a new coach. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt because you're building a whole entire new system there. With the Jets, what is your excuse? This is crazy. No.
There's no talent. There's not even hey, these teams they have a chance. Maybe it's a bad week. They have no receiver. Frank Gore is your starting running back. I have nothing to say. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. And I love Frank Gore. Love him for who he is, but it's been a while. But yeah, so we have to I don't mind seeing him out there for a few snaps, but you need to have another starting running back. And obviously Love Bell. Hopefully he'll be back soon. But even then, I don't believe in them. I just don't. I really don't. I think it starts at the top.
Well, I think everything's going to start fizzling out in the next 2 to 3 weeks because, again, I think there's a lot of fakes, a lot of phonies, and a lot of guys that shouldn't have the record they should. I'm rooting for the Texans due to David Johnson's sake because, again, I like him as a person. Super nice guy, family man. I really like him as a person. So I'm rooting for him silently, even though I'm a Colts fan, division, but I still like the Texans. I'm rooting for them, and I'm excited about the season all around. I'm beyond excited, and tonight's game particularly.
Yes. Oh, I can't wait for tonight's game. I hope it's shootout Chiefs Rams of a couple years ago. That was my jam. So hopefully we get to see a really great showing from Mahomes and from Lamar Jackson. Can't wait to watch these guys just continue to go at it for years to come.
I'm hoping Russell Wilson gets MVP because I just found out. I didn't find out. I knew I had this rookie card. So I've got this Russell Wilson. There's only 99 made of this one. It's a signed Russell Wilson rookie card, 23/99, serial numbered with his auto on it, mint condition. I still got to get it graded. But from what I hear, if this grades a 9.5 and 10, I'm sitting on $10,000 for a piece of cardboard with Russell's face on it. How crazy is that?
That's insane. I wouldn't sell it though. You have to save that. That's It's just going to appreciate in value.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. This is going to be one of those cards, man. I was like, I can't believe I had like a Wayne Gretzky rookie card. It's going to be like one of those things. It's like
exactly.
I might hang on to it. So I got a couple offers. One guy's like, I'll give you he started off at 1,500. I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm checking eBay right now. And I'm seeing one for like $7. I'll give you $2,000 right now. You don't have to grade it. Just send it to me. I'm like, no. And I got him as high as 2,500, but I'm still not selling. I don't think I'm going to hang on to it.
No. It's going to keep appreciating. Do you see how he's playing? Absolutely not. You can't sell that.
The best player. And then if he surpasses, which he could, and he surpasses Pat Mahomes this year, that card skyrockets. Because I know Mahomes cards are very expensive right now.
I can imagine he's the face of the league. Yeah, people are probably getting like a smooth $500,000 off. I don't know. I don't know how much they go for. I don't have cards. I don't know how much they actually go for.
They're expensive for sure. So thank you very much. Let's wrap this up. Make sure you guys follow her below, Malena Brown. I put the Instagram below, and I'd like to have you come on again to talk real football because this was great. Because we're also immersed in fantasy, and I think people like the variety of. That's why I bring Tom Santinello on Wednesday to talk, Fire and Ice Show, real football. We do the matchups. Maybe we'll get you on for a matchup show with me and Tom, and we can talk. I'll give the fantasy spin. You guys can talk real football and battle it out with each other and argue because there's a lot of.
Would love to.
Yeah, he's good. He knows his stuff really from reality. He's got his players that he likes. Like he hates Tannehill. He likes kind of Minshew. He's kind of got he picks his favorites a little bit, but he keeps it real, So I'm curious to kind of learn who your favorites are, and you guys can go head to head and stuff like that too.
That's funny because I like Tannehill and Minshew too. I know everybody thinks I like both of them. And
he hates Tannehill. He hates Tannehill.
I like Tannehill. I know that's crazy. He's my like. Boring, I guess is the word you could use, quarterback that I enjoy. I have no idea why. I know that he's a safe bet and all that stuff, but I think he's good enough to get them wins. He did it last year, and I think he can continue it.
I'm just curious also, I just want to end this off as well. Do you gravitate to players in regards to liking them as personalities based on their talent, personality? Because, for example, I'll tell you the kind of players I like. I like more of the humble, quiet, get it done. Julio Jones, example. Larry Fitzgerald. David Johnson, more of the down-to-earth, grounded, I don't got to be an asshole kind of. I hate the Odells, the Antonio Browns, the guys that are loudmouth showboaters, to say. And I hate them like a person, like in real life, but just dislike them for fantasy, dislike them for, I'd rather I gravitate towards players that are like the humble. Are you the same? Is there certain players you gravitate to? Are you more talent-based? I'm just curious on how you judge players.
I definitely look based on like talent and it's that like electric star quality, right? So when you think back to old quarterbacks, I'm picking Aaron Rodgers over Tom Brady because Aaron Rodgers gives you highlight reel, right? Yeah. In today's era, you have like a Keenan Allen who is a solid, he has all of the, what do you call it?
The skills.
Right. Like he has your go-to skill set. But then with him versus DeAndre Hopkins, I'm going DeAndre Hopkins because Nuke is going to give me like a crazy highlight reel moment. Same with the running backs. Like you have Zeke and Saquon, you have Alvin Kamara. I like Alvin Kamara because he does stuff that you're like, what just happened? Right. And I like those moments from players. So I like a little bit of electric.
You got to get into fantasy next year.
I know, right? Like because these guys are probably pulling incredible points there. Yeah.
Well, you're in the right place here. We'll have to get you into fantasy next year.
There we go.
Well, I appreciate you being on. Thank you very much, guys. Follow links below on social media, and I'm excited about the game tonight. All right, guys. Thanks for being on.
I can't wait.
Thanks
for having me.